How did you decide upon the name Tyrannosaurus Rex?
Basically, I like the idea of a beast being that big, and it's about 20 foot high and 40 foot long or something. I like the idea of a beast being that big and actually walking the earth, and being on the same land that we are now. And I mean, people now, the average person in the street, doesn't respond to the fact a creature like that lived. And that's a dragon, and you can't get any nearer to a dragon than that. I mean, the fact it doesn't breathe fire, I'm sure, is just an evolutionary thing that it did before we found the bones. And it also justifies in my head unicorns and centaurs and all the fabulous beasts that are supposed not to have existed by people that are logical. Because I'm sure no one would really believe that existed if they hadn't seen the bones. You could never convince anyone. You could look out the window and see it over the buildings. Phenomenal thing, and they walked. The whole of this earth was covered with creatures, nightmarish creatures. Can you see? There was a balance, and I believe very much in natural flow and the balance of two things. And for all those beasts, there must have been an equally bizarre side of the bestial. I can't find words. Scale, which would, for me, would take in the unicorn and all the other creatures who were always very much into purity and understanding, as opposed to carnivorous creatures.
The thinking behind the name has been mostly yours as opposed to John Peel's or Steve's?
Well, John had, I think I explained before, John had nothing to do with, the name. We were Tyrannosaurus Rex before I even met John.
Okay.
And, yeah.
That was yours, yeah. Did you, like ever study English or anything? Because your vocabulary is fantastic.
I was expelled from school when I was 14, and I never really got I didn't like the schools as such, but I always read from being a child, I mean, I write words that don't even exist, but to me, I understand them, so consequently, they're all right for me. I mean, you won't find them in the dictionary, but I understand them. So it makes it.
Should we start asking some of the old questions?
Yes, so please.
Oh, let's see. How'd I start? About the old records, Hippie Gumbo and The Wizard.
We'll say it again so I remember where we started. Oh, right, no, The Wizard I did in 1965, right? And Hippie Gumbo followed after that. Then there was Desdemona, which is very strange because it still sells about 100 a week in England, that record.
Did you write Desdemona?
A long time ago, about 4 years ago. I wrote it in Paris.
John's Children, was that the one that they went first nude?
Yeah, I'd left before that. It's one of the reasons why I left.
Yeah.
Now what happened is we did Desdemona, and it was a hit in about 4 countries, in Australia and Germany and these places. It was a sort of a minor hit in England, and it was all feeling very good. It was about the time Hendrix was just beginning to happen, and Cream and those people. And it was very much a guitar group. I was into electric guitars at that time. And it was a good set. I mean, on Desdemona, the guitar sound was good. I had all that together, just in the studio anyway. Live, we didn't do too much. In truth, we only did one tour of Germany with the Who, was all we did, because it was for track records. But we recorded the follow-up record, which was phenomenal. I mean, it really was a hit record. It really felt so good. I went away and they remixed it and changed it about, and they made it very bad. Not the group, the people behind it.
Yeah.
So I just split. I couldn't, because it was one of my songs and they really screwed it up. So I just, thought, well, that's all right. And left, because there was all other financial pressures coming in. Not on me, on dressing naked and publicity stunts and all this scene. I didn't want to be involved in it at all. So I just left, and I didn't know what to do for about 4 or 5 months, and I met Steve and we got that scene together.
What was Steve doing before?
Nothing really, just playing about, not with anyone. I knew what he knew.
Is this going okay this time?
Yeah.
Okay, you have a question? Next question was, let's skip John's.
Okay, what type of places do you like playing at the most? Like small clubs, or do you like the concert halls?
I think to get, well, in England, you see, the concert halls aren't that big. I was speaking with Eric Clapton about a week ago. He's a lovely case. You know, I stay at his house. He's got a big, lovely house. One thing I want to say about Eric, which most people don't understand, is that the Eric Clapton that lives in the papers is not real. And when you meet Eric, he is nothing like what is made out. You know, you understand, he's a very shy, unassuming man. And it's very strange to meet him for the first time when you've got this thing in your head about what he's about. And he's lovely anyway. And he's been playing, they've been doing concert halls here, stadiums, and they hate it. Because they're so big they can't get anything together with the audience. Well, in England, places like the Festival Hall are lovely because they hold about 2,000 people. And they're all built upwards and round. And it's incredible because I suppose it's, in truth, they're only as big as a club. We played it last night at Connecticut Playground. But they go up a bit. And it's really good because the sound is really incredible. It's all designed for people to be able to see you. The microphone systems are lovely. And they're just about right. They have a smaller hall there called the Queen Elizabeth Hall, which holds about 1,200, which for a tight concert is phenomenal. Because, you know, it's just so good and there's no uptightness. But I've never played in a big monster stadium. I'm sure I'd hate it. But really, the only club in England which is really good to play is a club called Mothers, which is in Birmingham. And just every band still, I mean, the Who played there like last week and it only holds about 800 people. And it's just, you know, an incredible place. But it's for the people there. Kids that come are so good. I mean, they're so prepared to be into you. You know, I don't expect people in this country to be into us yet because it's too soon. You know, we spent 2 years of playing in England, and you know, it wasn't always good. It took a time and records to build it up, and you know, I expect to at least come here 4 times before it, if it is going to happen. You know, it'll happen then, I feel, but not yet.
Do you intend to build your publicity, your popularity by the LP route, or the no singles, or the tour, or what?
Well, I think I'll play it by ear because in England we've had about 3 hit singles. You know, not top 10 hits, but top 20 hits lower down because there's no, you can't get a top 20 hit because there's no media for it. You know, but you can sell lots of records.
1 Inch Rack was Deborah.
Future Suitor, which was the 3rd one, bombed out completely, and it had 2 plays on the radio. Complete, and that was a real anti-us time. We have a new one out called King of the Rumbling Spires, which went in last week at 44 or something. I don't know what's happening with it, and that wasn't being played, so it might bomb out.
And you don't intend to release these in the States?
Rumbling Spires, I might put on the next LP. It's electric one. It's really nice. Very pleased. But I've got many new songs, and so I don't know where Americans' heads are at.
Yeah,
I can only, you know,
it's hard to tell usually because see, I don't know about in England, but in America, the audience, if the people, if one person doesn't know that everybody likes a group, then they'll just give a mild response, like last, you know. But if like Led Zeppelin was here a few weeks ago.
What's the name? Now I understand the name worship thing. I mean, you know, I didn't think particularly Country Joe were very good.
No.
And the response they got was incredible. But I've dug what they've done in the past. The first LP, Electric Music, I thought was a gas. But I mean, they've changed, you know. But I mean, I didn't think they played that well.
No.
And it's not a put down on them because they're nice people, but you know, I mean, that is a thing that you have to accept. It's like with everything. I mean, and Led Zeppelin don't move me at all.
Yeah,
as a band, you know.
They did blues for 3 hours to the point you could just fall asleep.
But you know, as you say, you know, if Led Zeppelin were anywhere before the second they came on, they get standing ovations. But that's part of mankind. I understand that.
The kind of thing where they have, like the Yardbirds or something, the lead guitarist is in the Yardbirds for a while, then he quits, and back he gets his own group and Page and the whole thing, and instant hit, their album sell, and that's it. Well.
But I mean, it happens in England. There are some places we can play and play very badly and get phenomenal response. So it's part, you know, it's where you are.
Yeah.
Do you think that British audiences are more apt to grasp, you know, a style like yours than the gentle sort of sound opposed to, you know, the noise that we get, the big supergroup thing?
Well, I don't know. I mean, when Donovan first started in England, he had 2 hits. He had one bomb-out record, which was Turquoise, which is lovely. It's really by far the best of the 3, and that didn't show at all. And then for a year he didn't work in England. There was no way he could work. He came here and slowly built a thing. He came here about 3 times, I believe. And then he did Sunshine Superman, which was a hit here. And then consequently it was a hit in England. But before that hit, they didn't want to know. And through, he basically at one point was very quiet, and he's gone into lots of other things now. But there was like Guinevere and all those things were definitely into that. And it took America to make him happen in England again. So it's sort of a two-way thing. I mean, we're certainly, because of there are people in England that will respond, but I'm sure there are as many here. I mean, the album already has sold about 25,000 here, and it's only been out a week or so, 2 weeks. And the promotion has not been that great, really. I don't mean it's not been good. The record company have worked well, but it's very hard for them to get plays. And as a sale, I'm told that it's very good, for the amount of time, because they expect you, the way it's going, you'll probably do about 50,000 or so, all in all. Which on a thing is as different as ours, I suppose.
You had a planned tour last year with Pink Floyd here, didn't you, in the States, that didn't come off or something?
Yeah, but that was visa.
Was that what happened?
Yeah, I mean, it took us at least 5 months, 6 months to get the visas together. We nearly didn't come this time. They wouldn't give us a visa.
Oh, right. How much did your release of the Unicorn LP have to do with your tours? I think if you would have come last year, would the Prophets LP been released?
Yeah.
It's that much corresponding.
Yeah. But we also had record company hang-ups. A&M owned our rights here, and they didn't want to release the records. I don't know why. But I mean, it took us a long time to get out of there. It was strange. But that was a bit of a drag. Because I wanted to have things released here. It's all right now, I'm sure they'll get it in America now before England.
Before?
Yeah, because it takes 3 months to get an LP literally released there. Once it's recorded, by the time they make the covers up, they're very slow there. And Blue Thumb here did it in about 2 weeks. The difference is pretty much.
We go over the old questions now. I can't remember.
I can't remember what made that. I can't remember if it's on this tape or who has influenced you. Is it on this one?
No, that was Skit. Who did I say?
Dylan.
Oh yeah, initially, right. It got me into Dylan musically. Actually, never influenced me. He influenced me in as far as, and many people. He made me aware that you could use good words with pop music. And before that, I'd just written poetry, really, and I'd not written any songs. I'd always not really felt too much for it. I'd always listened to pop sounds and gotten into music, but not wanted to be involved. I think I get phases of being influenced by things like production things. There's things on Unicorn which are very reminiscent of Phil Spector things, just not as songs. Like the drum sound on the track Unicorn is very much like Phil Spector drum sound. And that was because I listened to certain things like the Beach Boys have a very good production sound. Although I like the Brian Wilson songs, I don't like the other songs that they use. But a sound, because it's very hard in a studio to get, you can't, there's a big fallacy, you can go in and with a bad singer and make it all sound good. It's impossible to do that. It's very hard to get it all right. And, we work on an 8-track machine, and it's very, it's very rewarding. I always think of recording sessions like art. I think of people like art. I mean, the way you're dressed now, if you're a fully formed person, is exactly what's in your mind. So consequently, you're a work of art because you're unique in what you're about. And I work on songs like that. Every song I write to me is a work of art. If I listen to a song of someone else, I like to watch people, if they move well, or just talk, the way they do things, because it's very interesting. It's nice to see people using naturally what is there. It's like chicks dancing or people talking.
Can I get away from that influence thing just for a minute about these words like art and what's been termed lately as progressive rap, or progressive music?
Yeah.
You're talking about lyrics. How important do you think is it for the lyrics to be considered a work, art, or using a little different term, but a progressive music? How important are the lyrics? Like Led Zeppelin, people like, Page does a guitar, but that's not art.
No, they're rock bands, though. I don't think they're progressive music. They're just blues bands are now blues bands instead of 5 years ago, 10 years ago,
Right.
which they got it from.
The new British wave of groups in the past year or so are all like that, just the blues.
Yeah.
But what do you think
But
about
it's blues with Jimi Hendrix, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's just stretched
yeah.
out guitar
Right.
sounds.
But you don't consider that what you'd call progressive?
Well, done well, yeah. I mean, I think when Hendrix did it at the beginning, it was phenomenal. But
Mhm.
I think it gets a bit grating now because, like, even commercials on the radio use that guitar sound now.
Yeah.
I heard an incredible guitar solo in LA. And just like,
Yeah.
they do it here, yeah. I mean, it's, whoop, it's all happening. You know?
So, but you think lyrics have a thing that will make something progressive or not? Then, if it's not,
Not necessarily.
I don't wanna put 'em,
No. The thing that I find unsatisfying about most of the blues bands is 12 bar. I always found there's a time when you know, 1 or 2 12 bars go again, but 18 in a row gets very boring. And music, I judge music really on its melodic content.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, I mean, even a 12 bar can have incredible. Dylan did hundreds of 12 bars. Like She Belongs to Me is a 12 bar, but the melody is very strong. And Love Minus Zero is a lovely melody, and it's still a 12 bar. I mean, he did hundreds on that LP, all just straight 12 bars. But the structure of the song is always very interesting. I listen to lots of classical sounds, and Dvorak is the ultimate as a pop writer to me, because not all of his works, but sections. There's one part which is just like a rock and roll riff in the New World Symphony. It goes dan 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 dan, dan at the end, which is rock and roll, but done with thousands of cellos. That's progressive.
Yeah.
Because if Jimmy Page recorded 100 guitars doing that together, that would be progressive. It's the way it's done, and which is why I think Hendrix now is sounds a bit tired. I think he's just about to find his new thing. Or he won't, I don't know where his head's at now, but there was a point when everything he did knocked you out. Whereas now it's all just vibrato and it's a bit lost now.
Yeah, well, he's getting very stale. All his new songs are all completely blues now. He got rid of Mitch and all. I don't know what he's going to sound like. I don't think it's going to be as good as before.
Perhaps it'll take time to change. But Eric, you see, in with guitar things, he's done, as far as I'm concerned, about the most progressive. My Guitar Gently Weeps, for a start, is a phenomenal guitar solo. Within that, because it's not, he never ever uses fuzzbox or falls into any of those traps. And sometimes he gets into his own cliches. But when you're playing for half an hour a solo thing, you're going to have to, because you've got to fill up noise, But Presence of the Lord, I find a very exciting guitar solo. Really, not all of that album moves me, but that one track is a definite direction song. And the things that he did on Wonderwall, the Greasy Legs track, have you heard that?
I don't.
Very short.
Oh yes, I've heard it, but not many times.
Yeah, and it's very short, but it's very nice.
Yeah,
there's about 20 guitars on that, and at one point they sound like seagulls.
Yeah, I think I remember that. Yeah.
But that's very nice. If a guy in any band went through those changes, there'd be a progressive guitarist. But they'll go you think, no.
Yeah, that's all.
Not again.
Right. And the lyrical side, who would you rate now as progressive lyric writers in your mind?
Yeah.
We've just really wrapped.
Well, my own lyrics, I write actually what I want to hear. Or I find that when I get into people, there's the Idle Race in England, who are just like a pop band, a straight pop band.
Yeah.
But they have a lovely writer called Jeff Lynne.
Yeah, I just bought their LP last week.
Yeah, he's such a gas, Jeff. He's really, but he's again very like Eric. He's very unassuming. He's an incredible writer. Lyrically, he's very ordinary.
Yeah.
But the way he uses his words are very sweet because they reach the people. And I could never write like that, but it's really good. And you must listen to things on that album because most of the things you think are cello things are guitar things. Like the Birthday, dun, 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 it's a guitar. Phenomenal. He's an incredible guitarist, that man. I mean, no one's ever mentioned him.
They have the image, from what I've read, that of sort of a Bee Gees type teeny
yeah,
group.
but this is again.
That's their image, I guess. But
Well, not that they don't want that. It's
No,
what the
yeah,
pop
the
papers
press,
say,
yeah.
because
Yeah.
they've got to put them somewhere. But they're
Right.
not like that at all.
that End of the Road didn't do much at the single.
Well, they've never had any success in England at all. Only that all their records almost sound like big hit records, but not quite.
Yeah.
Not quite got it. But I don't know what's going to happen with it. But I'm sure. I mean, Jeff's a gas. I mean, he's producing them now. Their new LP, I heard, which is lovely. It's not released yet, but it's going to be out soon. I mean, he interests me. I get very into him. I find people, like I listened to some, did you speak about Terry Reid before?
Yeah.
Because I saw him, I've heard his records many times and they didn't do anything to me at all. Yeah, I saw him in a club in New York the other day and he was really very nice.
What was the audience response? He's having trouble here because nobody, well, it seems like everybody that's supposed to know where he is, everything's just not getting together for him. That the record companies, this and the publicity, just, I don't know, everything's pretty much in a jumble.
Well, I think it's, I mean, the audience response was nice. There weren't many people there, but it was like when we were working, it was a Woodstock festival. So consequently, there were no people in any clubs, which was a downer for a start. But it was good. You see, the thing about what I can see about his thing is that he's a very, very good rhythm guitarist. He doesn't attempt to do lead guitar things, which is really refreshing because there's no bum solos, you know.
Yeah.
But I think he definitely needs stronger songs because many of the songs he does, he does the same sort of thing with every song, which is a gas, you know. But and his voice is a sort of soul voice. If you know, it's definitely progressive, but he does sort of soul things. He sounds like a groovy Jose Feliciano or someone, you know, but much better because he believes in it. He's doing it from inside, not from the top of his head, you know.
Yeah.
And I just think he needs a song, a hit song, you know, or whatever.
They just did Super Long, but nobody's, the record companies.
They're not giving it any play around.
Is it good?
To change subjects now, what part do you think drugs do play or should play in people's life, or even in your life personally?
Well, in my life, none at all. Because I smoke sometimes, but that's about it. I never know about drugs. I feel that there are times when some people need them. There are certain sorts of people that need drugs to function. I'd never ever judge anyone on anything. I mean, for me, I don't need drugs because of the way I've geared my life from birth. I live in a sort of, from what other people tell me, I naturally am on the same wavelength that most people are when they're tripping anyway. You know, apart from when I get involved in business things, but when I, a very sort of quiet thing, I believe that that's a natural thing that's given to all men, you know, of any sorts. And drugs have never helped me in any way. It's like being on a normal scene, you know. But I think if your circumstances don't allow you to think, if you have to go to work all day and you come home very uptight, certainly to smoke would straighten you out a bit. It would make it easier to function, you know. But I've never been into acid. I've dropped a couple of times, but it's not. I find it very unnecessary for me personally, but I can't talk for other people, honestly. They're man-made. I'm very against anything man-made. You know, I mean, the mere name of acid means it's going to burn something inside you. I mean, all these, it's like, they get taken for granted names, they just become names. It's like, look at the name the Beatles when you first see it, and it's like the most uncool name in the world, because it's about B-E-A-T, you know, forget it. But after a while, you forget all about that, and just, you know, then you see it for what it is. And I think with acid, it's taken much too loosely. You know, if you really want to burn out your brain, then by all means, burn out your brain and enjoy it. But many people I know that have been very creative people, lovely people, have been screwed up through it. You know, and there's a man called Sid Barrett, used to be in the Pink Floyd.
Yeah.
It didn't do him any good. I wouldn't say it's done him any harm, but he doesn't function in the same way he did. Well, I believe very deeply in that the only reason that T.rex has been anywhere near successful is that basically I only work in truth. And I've never written anything to be commercial, because basically we had everyone in the world told us we wouldn't sell any records because we were totally uncommercial. That's why I left Track Records.
Is it Regal Zonophone's name of the label?
Yeah, that's the name.
Yeah. How much of a close-knit, I don't know, Procol Harum's on there?
Yeah.
And Joe Cocker.
Is it, I don't know, I got the impression that Island Records was sort of a family with Jimmy Miller doing the producing and things, and I mean, maybe I'm wrong, I don't know, but is Regal...
You're wrong, but I mean, Jimmy Miller does the producing, but no record company in England or anywhere, I'm sure, is not a family. I mean, when it comes to business, forget it.
Is it that way, yeah?
Yeah, with everyone, I mean, you know.
Are you friends with Procol Harum or any of them?
Well, Keith Reed I've known since I was 11 years old, and we were sort of... I was into... you never had sort of mods and things here, but when I was about 14, I was very into that as a kid. And Keith and I were great friends, so consequently through that.
You know, what's the story with that about? Does he tour the group now? I was reading, or not?
Yes, yeah, he's always been with them all the time.
But he never gets on stage. So.
No. I mean, his thing is to write the words, he feels.
Were you impressed by Salty Dog LP?
I like them. I find that they just, I don't want to say anything bad. I think that by using the guitar, getting a guitar into the band, they lost part of their originality using a sort of lead guitar thing. Although he's very good, Robin, from the original scene. I don't know how they could have combated it only by using 3 organs or something. But I think they by using the guitar, it lessened their originality. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I see.
Because suddenly they were just a guitar group again. But I think they've gotten over that now a bit, and they're getting now into much better things. But I've always liked their records.
You said that before the single.
And I like Quite Rightly So, which was flopped in England. But I love that.
Yeah.
It's a lovely single.
Was that the A side in England?
Yeah. It was the B side here, wasn't it?
I think so. We Small Hours of Sixpence,
right.
But they never played that either, so it didn't make any difference. But you said your single now in England is more electric sounding, did you
Yes.
say?
Yeah.
What lineup instruments did you use?
It's electric guitar, bass, drums and organ, really, and some percussion things.
It's the kind of thing, well, how can I say? It's all studio. I mean, you couldn't,
we can do it live. It sounds a bit different, but only like when the Cream did We're Going Wrong, Eric never did a solo. He never ever did, he just strummed, and left the guitar thing. It's like that. I play electric guitar and Steve plays organ, and in truth it sounds a different sort of sound to the record, but it sounds as strong. It's just that when I did the record, we were into a much heavier thing than I'm into now, so consequently I do it much quieter now.
Have you ever considered or ever planned to use backup musicians on stage?
If I could find anyone to work with, I might do, but I've never found anyone that I could have a good thing going with. I don't feel the need to.
You don't?
Because on records, we can cope with all the sounds that we need anyway. And we have a lovely producer called Tony Visconti, who's an American guy. And him with Reed was on a phone. He's really the only producer then, and Danny Goodell is not really that involved. He's lovely, Danny too, but for various reasons. He's over here now, I think, producing Joe Cocker. And I work very closely with Denny, which in turn means Reed was on a phone, so we're very tight. I mean, Tony engineers the sessions and I produce them. Really, that's how it works. I mean, we're very, very close. And he plays piano on Cat Black. That's Tony on that. Just because I wanted him to play on something. And I might use Tony on bass or something if I wanted a different sort of bass sound or something. But only if I could find, if you were there and we wanted maracas done and, we never had a track to use, and I should do maracas. That's how it worked.
Yeah.
Like that. But I never really found anyone that I could work with like that.
In your writing, I was reading an old Enemy article, and you mentioned that your guardian angel does your writing. It struck me.
How did it struck you?
I don't know. I'd never read something like that. It was like, a little funny. Not. I don't. This is like, not really, strange, but just a bit odd. I just couldn't. It went through me. I mean, that line.
You don't know how to rate it on a scale from not serious to totally serious.
I mean, totally serious.
Yeah. Well, what I meant about that was, sitting as I am now, I couldn't pick up a guitar and write a song at all. I don't know how other people write, but I couldn't just sit down, work out some chords and have a song come up. I really do write when I'm inspired, or not necessarily inspired, on a different plane. And it's a place I'd rather be all the time, but being a physical human being, that's not possible. And I use the guardian angel as my other self, my astral self. I use that as not a physical self. I believe very much in astral identity and karma, which is, the journey. Do you know about karma? Which is, you're here on earth for a certain specific lesson, and when you die, you take the form of another being after a certain time. If you feel you need to learn a new lesson. This is obviously my time to be a poet and a musician, but next time I might be a dustman or a cat. to learn humility perhaps as a cat, or now it's probably to attune to the whimsical changes of mankind, like making 2 records that are equally as good, and not having one played and having it bomb out, and having a lesser one played very heavily and having it being a hit, and you don't believe in it as much as the other one. I mean, there's no reason for those things, only the looseness of mankind and the untruth of it. If you know someone there is going to help you here and all those changes. And I just believe it's my older self who writes the songs, not necessarily me, because I'm not capable of doing it all the time. Only certain moods, when I feel very open, a sort of force comes within me. I call on a certain force, which is, the Greeks just called it the muse. I mean, they worshipped certain muses, and it's like worshipping a muse. I mean, because it's inspiration, really. But I just give it a form, because I like to give things forms and faces.
Do you think that you keep coming back until, like, a perfect life is fulfilled?
Sure, yes, which was Christ. Christ was about that, and Buddha and Krishna. And then you have no need, there's nothing more to learn. And then I believe only then do you truly become a human being in as such. I mean, there is so much wrong with people, like the jealousies, the hang-ups, the ego problems. When all that is gone, can you only truly, I believe, call yourself a man? Now we're just sort of bestial creatures that have brains, I think, because we don't, suddenly you get uptight about something heavily, and you don't want to. You really get, and what sort of, you're supposed to be able to control it all. I mean, and you have no control. Someone shouts, you get really uptight, or whatever the situation. Greed thing, all these things that you think you can control, sex things. You get into, things that you just don't, that make you feel bad, that you still do. Because we're animals, I mean, and I don't eat meat. And there's one, perhaps that's why I'm in this life, that was one lesson that I've learned. Not to consume animal flesh, but, I believe it works for me only because when you know something, when you learn something, when something is shown to you in the interest of truth and growth, I don't believe you can ignore it. I'd never be down on anyone who ate meat. But the second that they knew, or they thought it was bad to eat meat, in their own head, for whatever reason, if it's only that you are what you eat, and you're putting a lump of your dead hand up laying in your stomach, And then to do it then is a great mortal sin, I believe, because you've been shown not to do it. But if that doesn't come about in your lifetime, there's nothing wrong with killing people or eating meat or knocking down old ladies if you think it's right, If you don't know any better, or, it sounds righteous, not know any better, if it's not right for you. I'd never judge other people, because I don't consider myself worthy to judge particularly, or any people that I've met. I'd like to meet someone. And many of my songs, Stacey Grove, in particular, Prophets, is just a verbal and sort of written down picturesque example of a prophet. Not one that I know, but one that is a face and a name as Christ, but I just gave the person a special name so that I could identify. And I had Sinskov. Sinskov is on the first album. There's a Sinskov dynasty, it's called, which is on prophets. And Sinskov is, I suppose, very much like Sauron in Lord of the Rings. He's sort of an arch villain, really. I use all the bad things, I lay it all on Sinskov, so I can use him as an outlet for all the bad things, really, in society or mankind. It's not, I don't like to get into straight ban the bomb imagery, because I don't think it's a bit boring. I mean, although the idea is right, it's been done so many times, it ceases to do what it's supposed to do. And so I try to, I care very deeply about mankind as it is, and I just try to, in my own way, make it a bit more interesting. Same things, ways that I believe in. I do believe in unicorns, and I believe in tree spirits, and I believe in many things that some people might consider, in their ignorance, really, because who are they to say that I'm wrong, really, and they think prove any wiser. Things that they think are strange, really.
Do a lot of your subjects for writing come out of literature, don't they?
Subconsciously, yes, but not consciously. I read a lot. I read things that I want to. But I've found lately all the songs are beginning to take on one sort of definite landscape. certain names are reappearing. Like, so I never really give much thought to writing until it's finished, and then I look at the words and they're written down. I'd never consciously steal an idea from something. I would never borrow something. But things, you know, you only, your mind is like a computer. You only put in what you have, and it comes out the way that you say it. And the first poet that ever wrote poetry probably said all that any poet could ever say. But he said it his way, and you can say it your way. You know, it's like with Tolkien's thing, or C.S. Lewis, the Narnia books. It's very much like a Tolkien, you know, it's all joins up and it gets wider. Men like Khalil Gibran was a Persian poet. He says very much the same thing. I say very much the same thing as him. He says very much the same thing that Christ said. Although Christ was much more together than any of us. You know, because he was very together.
What do you think of John Lennon's peace crusade of the past few months, and now he's going to sing to the Middle East countries or something we just heard? Give Peter Chance on. As a pop star or as a person, you know, what he's becoming his life.
I think he believes in what he's doing, and that's what I can say, really. I mean, he believes.
He's talked a little bit about politics often. How do you rate yourself politically?
As far as the structures that are around, like religiously, I have nothing to say about what exists, only that I can't associate with it at all. And it seems all very corrupt.
Mm-hmm.
Like all not necessarily the Eastern religions, because they're much more involved in, or less involved in the materialistic side, but the Church and the Catholic and all those changes. I can't get involved with it at all. And politically, I can't be involved in any of the politicians. I'm very religious, and I care very much about people, but I don't see that they're anything to do with it.
I mean, as far as the daily newspaper and all that, do you ignore it? Do you read it carefully, or do you...
I never see them.
Just ignore them? And if a news show comes on the television, you turn it off?
No, if it's on and it's, you know, if it's on, I might look, or there's something on the other side that I want to see. I don't look at telly much anyway. That was for Joanna, because I like Indians. But I think they've got it all wrong.
Just out of curiosity, did you watch the Prisoner show from England?
Yes.
That's one thing you did watch?
Yeah.
Did you enjoy it? Yeah.
He's
the one. Yeah. Is he popular in England now still?
Well, not with anything at the moment, because I think he's refilming a new thing. There's nothing on it. That was very big.
Do you like that sort of thing, you know, like with the
Well, it's
village?
interesting entertainment. I think entertainment should be interesting, and it shows imaginations, I guess. I'm not down on anything if it's done well. It was done well, so it's certainly worth watching. I always watch kids' television if it's done well, but if it's done bad, it's obnoxious, but if it's done well, it's interesting.
Well, I was just like, I meant like, as opposed to things like Secret Agent.
Well, I've never watched it.
Yeah,
Anyway.
the openings that they used to do.
Yeah, well, he's a gas, though. I think he's just a good man anyway, and he comes across as a nice cat.
Well, the Prisoner's been, the critics have had debates and things about the meaning of certain things and the symbolism and all this. When you watch it, did you consider it entertainment? Or
Yeah,
did you,
just entertainment. I mean, I'm not going to get into what it was all about.
and if there is things, if there is symbolism in the show and things like that, you don't pretend to know it if there is.
Well, only if I feel it naturally, then I assume it's there. But if I didn't feel it naturally, I'm not an intellectual at all. I mean, it's like if I listened to a Bob Dylan song, I'd never say that it was about anything. I just either feel what I felt from it or I wouldn't, you know.
Same with Procol Harum and
Oh, right. I mean, you know, forget all that.
Yeah.
Like stories and songs.
Yeah, if it's done well, it's, you know, I just like music as a whole. I think is a very great natural force, you know. Just when you consider that the first man that got together an instrument and actually played on it and made noises, and to where it's gotten to now, to a very sophisticated state of a man making noises, is really quite interesting. I mean, I like, you know, I can listen to good Motown music, good soul music, as long as it's done well and they believe in it. You know, any music's nice if it's done well. You know, and I can get what I get from all of it. You know, there's some people I just can't listen to, like Tom Jones or people like that.
Terry Reid gave us a big lecture on Tom Jones. He didn't like him too much either.
No, you said, you know, the whole show's, you know, produced terribly.
Yeah, I forget. But that's the section. And it's all down to turning 40-year-old ladies on.
Yes, exactly.
When I get back to England, I'm going to work on a new LP, and part of it's recorded already, which would be nice. And most of it will be electric, using electric instruments, but not as people conceive of electricity. I use the electric guitar because you can get more tones really, from it than you can acoustically. You get more sound. And we will be putting a single out here, depending on what the song is. I have about 4 songs that I'd like to use. We might not put Rumbling Spies out here, only because it's very likely that Steve will split when we get home. Just through, he wants to get into other things. So I don't want to release anything that has Steve on it if we're not going to be working together.
And you just stay a solo artist?
Oh no, I've got many people that I want to work with.
But I mean,
work with someone else.
On tour?
Yeah.
You would have somebody else?
Oh yeah, someone permanent to work with. I know about 3 or 4 people I've worked with. It's one of the natural things with music of today. I mean, there's never any uptightness about things like that.
With the same name and it's your name?
Yeah, I mean, it's the whole thing about Tyrannosaurus Rex is it symbolizes really what my head's about, not what Steve's head's about. And because of the last 2 years or something of growth, Steve's head has gone into different things, and he wants to express himself. But it's completely very different from what we're doing now. What he wants to do, and I don't really want to be involved in what he wants to do, and which is a gas. It's cool, he's just gonna, because he used to play drums, a full drum kit, and do heavy rock and roll things before we got this together. And I think he'd like to try and go back to that and see what he could do with that.
You said you have a few people in mind for the. Do you see Tyrannosaurus Rex as always as 2 people, or do you mean adding?
For a bit, anyway. I mean, it'll obviously change. I never expected to use electric things when this came about. I never looked too deeply into the future. I can't really say, what's going to be happening. Only that it'll, if it wasn't progressing, I wouldn't do it. If I didn't get satisfaction. I'm get very excited about music. And, I'm excited that Steve, he'll probably still do things with me. We'll do, he'll still be around, so we'll do things, but it'll be just someone else as well.
Did you write books of poetry or something? Are they published?
There's one book. It's published in England, yeah.
Is it going to be released? I mean, whatever.
I shouldn't think so.
No.
Yeah. No.
What's it called?
It's called The Warlock of Love.
What's
The Warlock of Love. Would you like a cold drink or something?
Oh, I wouldn't know that.
Yeah. Coffee or...
About the, is this thing about Steve leaving known in the press and all that? I mean...
Well, no, because we don't really even know it yet.
So we should keep it out of anything we write
right.
about? Okay,
yeah. Well, it hasn't happened yet, but from what we've been talking together, we might... I mean, it won't happen yet, but it might happen.
How long have you been on tour in the States so far?
Only about 3 weeks.
You were in New York and then California?
LA first, then San Francisco, then back to LA, then New York, and here.
And then you go to New Orleans?
Probably, yeah.